Hi guys, hello guys. So today is 12th of May 2025 and we will see a gap up in Nifty of about 300-400 points. And what is happening is that obviously, as you might have seen, that there is a ceasefire and the markets are going to go up from now. We purchased Indian Hotel and FinNifty as per the last video which we made on Friday. Also on Thursday we did some purchasing. You need to be greedy when others are fearful, and you need to be fearful when others are greedy. So a lot of people were being very fearful last week, and there were a lot of targets which were given, like Nifty will go to 22,000, Nifty will go to 21,000. I think there are still a lot of people who are waiting for 21,000 or 22,000. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen, because as I made the video last week, which is that the market will always look forward 6 months. So you are reacting on the information of today. That is what the mere mortals do. But the real people, the real investors would actually look ahead. Even the real traders would look ahead 6 months or 1 year and see how the market is going to behave in 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now. So that is very important, very critical, that you should not just look at, okay, there is a lot of war going on and should I invest or not invest. You should invest based on what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is UK-India trade deal, which is already concluded. Then you have US and India trade deal, which is going to happen. And also, yesterday there were a lot of positive signs from China. So China-US trade deal. All those trade deals are going to lift the equity markets up. The Bitcoin is already up. It's hitting 104,000 and it is still, I would say, going up. So it's not stopping. So overall, I think the mood is very positive. One very important thing which I want to tell you is that a lot of people are not thinking about Nifty going to 25,000. And unfortunately or fortunately, market does what a lot of people are not thinking. So if you are thinking Nifty will not go to 25,000, then you should challenge your thinking, because the consensus has been last week that the market will fall to 23,500 at least, which market did not do. Market was very stable around 24,000. 2 or 3 stocks which you can very carefully look at is Indigo, Indian Hotel. Those are the travel and tourism stocks. So what happened was that these companies went down a lot on Friday when we bought them. And the reason why they went down was because less people will travel, there will be less foreigners and so on. But now with the ceasefire, that fear is not there that much. So you can definitely go ahead and invest in these companies, even at these levels. They are really strong businesses. I took a future of Indian Hotels on Friday. I'm hoping that I'll make a lot of money there. It was pretty cheap, around 710 or something. The stock has moved, if you remember, in January up to around 890 rupees, and then it came down 20%. It came down to 700. It went up to 800, and now it is back around 720, 730. I do think that the stock will go up again because the pressure, because of the war, is not there. And so that is one stock. And then you have Indigo, because the flights were cancelled and everything, and Indigo would obviously lose money because there will be less travel and all those kinds of things. Those are over. So Indigo, Indian Hotel, those you can definitely look at. Then look at FinNifty. FinNifty went down purely because of ICICI Bank went down and HDFC Bank went down, and Kotak has been going down. So all these 3 big banks, and I would also include Axis Bank and State Bank, those 2, 5 banks, you can actually buy them low and sell them high. And the reason why I say that is because, and despite all the momentum stuff which we do, what has happened in last 3 years, which is very important, is that banks have not performed while the market has been going up. So if you look at the Kotak Bank in 2022, its stock was around 2,100 or 2,000. So in last 3 years, they've not really given much of returns. So if I look at Kotak in particular, it is actually at a very decent price of 2,100 to buy. And I don't think you will get it there. If you look at the chart for the last 5 years, in December 2020, the stock was 1,960. Now it is 2100. So the stock has not really given much return post the run up in COVID. So COVID happened, stock went down to 1300, and then it came to around 1970, and then it stayed around 2000 for whatever 3 or 4 years. So these are the stocks which you definitely want to look at. So just a quick summary: Indian Hotel, Indigo, because the travel tourism story will be back. Then you need to look at the banks and NBFCs, and in banks I gave you 5 banks. And then you have to also look at some of the defense stocks. I already have them, and I'm hoping to make good money there. I mean, these are pure momentum plays, which is BEL, HEL, and solar industries. The problem is that a lot of people think that now the war is over, so these stocks will go down, which may not be true, because these are long-term stories. I mean, it doesn't mean that the war cannot happen in 1 year or 2 years from now. So people will be getting ready for, so the government will be spending more money, and you will see a lot of activity also in Europe. You see that there's a $500 billion investment in the defense sector which is being made. And if you look at solar industries, they are selling stuff to Turkey, they are selling stuff to a lot of European countries. Obviously, they are selling stuff to Indian government. So you need to look at these defense stocks too. So overall, the mood is now going to be positive. A lot of people are assuming that once it hits 24,500, it will stop. Nifty will stop there. But I think market does what the consensus doesn't think. So consensus right now, just like last week, the consensus was that Nifty has to go down to 23,500. But it did totally opposite. It stayed stable at 24,000, and now it's going to go up 400, 500 points. And right now the consensus is that Nifty is going to go down after it hits 24,500, 600. I think you really need to be careful when it hits 25,000. My expectation from Nifty is that it will go up until maybe 25,000. Because that is something which a lot of people are not thinking. And if you don't want to get into Nifty, I don't have any Nifty futures. If you don't want to get into Nifty, then you just look at the tourism stocks, Indian Hotel, Indigo. You look at NBFCs, and more importantly, private banks, and also maybe State Bank. And then you also look at the defense stock, which is HAL, BL. If you are in these stocks, you are in safe stocks, because government is going to spend, and the banks have not performed for the last 4 or 5 years. They will perform. And for the travel industry also, people will start to travel again and start the bookings again, and so on. So the short-term fear is over. So this is the summary for today. Let's see how the market opens. See you in the evening, or maybe